Start.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the book club. Now, today we have veered away from the usual pattern to a slight extent because we have two presentations on one day. Hey, and they're both authors. So we have two authors speaking to us today directly. Now, I think that's wonderful. And I think that having authors is the most wonderful thing that the book club can do. We've had lots of them, lots. And some really famous people like Monu Pillai and all have come. So this is a good platform. Now, the first presentation is going to be by Aarti Narayan. She joins us from Singapore. And she has written a book which is close to reality, is based on reality, but is a fictionalized one. So therefore, the genre is that it's a novel, right? Now, Aarti is here with us and she will tell us about the book. Never mind if you haven't read it. Because I have it, I have not completed it either, but I've enjoyed what I've read so far. So, Aarti, over to you now.
No, before
Could
you
you
go
please
more,
tell us a little bit about
we got
yourself?
it's a new year. We got about 17 people, and most of them are saying for 5 minutes. Let everyone say hi and show us their.
No, Satish.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry, it's
I'm the
12
one who likes
minutes.
speaking.
No, no, we've used up
Moini
all
is
the
the
time we
teacher.
could. No, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Uh,
She's the boss.
yes, Aarti, over to you.
Thank you. And first of all, just thank you for inviting me into your community. I am delighted to be here. This is the first book club discussion I've been in as an author. And so it's always going to be special. And it's even more special that it's Pune because I have very warm memories of visiting as a child. I'm Mumbaichi Mulgi, but my mom was with the Reserve Bank of India. She would come to Pune often to inspect cooperative banks. And I spent many of my teenage years visiting Pune back and forth on the weekends when she couldn't travel home to, well, it was Bombay then, to visit. So Chitle Bandhu, Kayani Bakery, Lakshmi
Yeah.
Narayan Chivda, which I just eaten today. For me, sadly, all my Pune memories seem to be food connected, but I have very warm memories of Pune. And that's unfortunately more than 3 decades ago, and I haven't visited since. So I'm really happy that it is from my home state and a city that I have enjoyed visiting as a child. So thank you, everyone. Dr. Kot, you said I should introduce myself first, right? Just because help me if I'm kind of, missing something out.
No, it's human curiosity.
Of
You read
course.
a book, you like it, you want to know, hey, who is this person? Who's written
Absolutely. And thank you for that. I'm delighted you like what you read so far. So I'm feeling good already. So, as I mentioned, I was born and brought up in Bombay. I'm going to say Bombay because in my book, also in that time period, that's what it was.
fine.
Bombay now, of course. And when I was 20, I left home, did my MBA. And within 3 years, my husband and I, we left India, we moved to Singapore. And for the next 20 odd years, I was what I call a corporate warrior. So any writing I did was confined to strategy presentations and business papers. And I don't think anyone works for my old companies here. So I can tell you there was a lot of creative writing involved there. But yeah, that was the only foray with writing that I did. I've always been an avid reader. My favorite is Jane Austen forever, and I grew up on a diet of Wodehouse, Wilde, and all the classics. Uh, because I guess when I was growing up in Mumbai, I mean that was all we could afford to do. We just went to the library, we borrowed books, and every time I did well in the exam, I would beg my mom to buy me books. So I used to go to Strand bookstall. I don't know if people in Pune know about it, but
Oh, yes.
I grew up. My mom's office was right next to Strand bookstall, so that would be our Saturday ritual. Go to Strand, wait for Mr. Shanbag to open, get books, cross the road, go to RBI, where she would put me in a small corner, and I would spend the Saturday half day reading whatever I had bought. So that's how I grew up. And in a way, I'm glad it was in a tech age then, although, of course, that's enabled us to have this online discussion. So I'm not going to diss that as well.
Remind me about Stan later. I've got a nice story to tell.
Absolutely, I will.
Definitely.
I will. Would you like to share that now?
Not now, later on, later on.
Okay, okay. And and then yeah, like I said, I just worked for the next 25, 26 years. And then I think the pandemic coincided very nicely with my midlife crisis, which unfortunately also coincided with me breaking my leg in three places and being laid up on the sofa. And that's when I decided to write, to pen my
Right.
partly my grandmother's story, actually for the sake of my kids. We always used to talk in our family that, you know, it was as good as a novel or a movie, and, you know, in a joking kind of way. And then I told my mom that since all I could do was sit on the sofa, why not just do that, since I couldn't do anything else anyway. But every time I would talk to my mother, I would come away with pages and pages of notes. And after 4 or 5 phone calls, I realized I had 30, 40 pages of notes. And that's when the idea of turning it all into a book came to me. But really, it started off as being for the kids. I mean, there's an old saying, right? If you don't know where you've come from, how do you know where you're going? Can't take credit for that. It's Maya Angelou. But that really appealed to me. So that's really how my writing journey started. But then, just as I was about to kind of get cracking, I took a 6 to 8 month hiatus for a very good reason. My B school was celebrating its silver reunion. And so we were all meeting in Ahmedabad, and I decided to volunteer for being the editor of my batch yearbook. In hindsight, that delayed my whole writing thing by 6 to 8 months, but actually it was the best thing I could have done, because, like my book, it was a labor of love, and I had to actually pen word portraits of my batchmates, you know, to bring them to life, as it were, and all the things they'd done over the last 25 years to make it funny, not boring. So that kind of forced me to do something I'd never done before, and gave me a lot of confidence, because my batch is the best ever, my best supporters. And 2023 and much of 20 and first half of 2024, I did the book was completed. And then, for those of you who think writing a book is difficult, the second part is worse, which is pitching it to publishers and literary agents. All the rejections that I hadn't had in 50 years suddenly compressed themselves into 50 weeks. I got rejected, sometimes politely. I went all the way to Penguin's acquisition meeting and then got dinged. I got ghosted. It was like trying to do dating on Tinder, I suppose. And just when I was kind of losing hope, I had two mini essays published in the NYT's Modern Love section. There's a small section called Tiny Love Stories. And that kind of gave me confidence, because, like everyone else, I am human. I need validation. And and I said, okay, maybe there is an audience out there, you know, despite all the rejections and the ghostings. And then my my publishers in the UK, it's a small award-winning press based in Buckinghamshire called Author and Me. They got my manuscript. A friend put me in touch with them, and immediately they were like, "We read this book, and it reminds us of our grandmothers, our nani or dadi, or as we say in Pune, it would be aji." And they just took a shine to the book. And within 6 months, the next thing I know, I'm at the British Library and my book is being launched. And here I am at the book club. So that's kind of a bit about me, a bit of a story, and I couldn't have done it without my husband, and more importantly, my younger child, my daughter, who's been my biggest support. So yeah, that's a bit about me. Uh, Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
Please go on. Please go
Oh, I
on.
thought
You
someone was
can talk
speaking.
about your book.
No, I'm going to share actually. What I thought I
Okay.
would do after
Oh,
this was
one
just,
second then. I need
sorry,
to.
is
I need to make you co-host.
one second. I'll
Yes.
just
Now you
share
can
and send you
share.
a request. Yeah. Hang on. Uh, are you able to? Yeah.
I can't see anything yet.
Oh, are you looking
Aarti
at the
ma'am, you're
replays?
already a co-host. I think you can go ahead.
Oh, okay, okay, right. Okay, hang on a
Yeah.
minute. Let me just open it. One sec. Sorry, just a minute. I'm just opening my slides. Please bear with me. Got it. Okay. Please tell me when you can see my screen. You should be able to see
Yeah.
the
It's
screen.
Yes,
visible.
we can see.
Yeah? Okay, great. So this is the flyer, I think, that was sent to everyone, so I won't spend time on that. Okay. I'd like to talk to people about what my book really is about. As I mentioned, it's based on the life of my grandmother, my Patti. Now, Patti grew up in a village. She was a barely educated woman, and she died before my 12th birthday. So I didn't really know her except as a very quiet, very gentle, unassuming woman, wrinkled hands that would, ruffle your hair, always wearing a jewel tone madisar, which is basically our version of the Nawari. And for me, she was just my grandmother, nothing out of the ordinary. But it's only after she passed away and I hit my late teens and around the age of 20 that and started to be admitted to family conferences, if you like, and elders gossip, that I realized the full extent of her story, my grandfather's gambling addiction, the impact it had on all my aunts and uncles, and of course, most especially on Patti herself. She, as I said, was a product of her times. She was barely educated. He, on the other hand, 100 years ago, was a graduate and was fluent in English in an India where just 3% of the population was literate. But but it's so funny. She is the one who actually leaves a legacy. She had 10 children in all. The first five were girls, followed by the boys. And she wanted them to walk a path that was different to hers. But, my grandfather moved to Bombay. He left her in the village to raise her long brood of kids. Every year she'd have a baby. You know how it is in India, or at least how it was then. And she was determined to educate her girls because she didn't want them to end up, in the same boat as she was. But despite that, the matter was taken completely out of her hands when her elder daughter was basically married off to someone just because my grandfather didn't want to foot the wedding expenses. And I think that's when something, I have to put myself in her shoes, obviously, and that's when, in my narrative, something shifts in her head, right? It's not just enough to educate your daughters, because unless you stand on your own feet, you're never going to have agency over what happens in your life. And like most women, I presumably everyone on this call has heard the words in whichever language you speak. In Tamil, we say Vittukuru. That means let it go, endure it, put up with it. Zaude, Raudia, Renedo. It doesn't matter what Indian language you speak, at some point or the other, you've heard it or you've heard someone else, listen to it. So she was also brought up with this whole don't rock the boat, don't upset the apple cart, be a good wife, right? And logically, there should not be any dichotomy between being a good wife and being a good mother. You can be both. But with my tata, I mean, my grandfather, behaving the way he was, at some point, there was this big tension in her mind, right? And it's not just external. She was very much a product of her age. So the real rebellion has to start in your own head. At what point do you say, enough is enough? I am not going to put up with it, because you can put up with stuff for your own sake, but you're not going to put up with things when they start affecting your children. So she puts her foot down and she says, I'm coming to Bombay too with all the kids, and makes the ultimate sacrifice. He tells her, if you do, that's it. There's no going back for you ever again. Now, that's the story or part of it. No spoilers, but the whole narrative is about how she brings up her daughters to be independent, how they all had agency over their own lives, and how I, a granddaughter, was able to, you know, have an education. I too migrated like her, but my piece of paper from my B school was the thing that separated Pati's path and my path, and that's made all the difference. Even today in my family, people quote what she said, you know, for us, education is really important. And she said, people can take anything away from you. They can take your possessions, your clothes, your wealth, even your dignity if they try hard enough. But no one can ever take your education away from you. And I didn't really realize the richness in 1970s and 80s India when I was growing up of having every single woman in my family, my mom and all my periamas, they all had careers of their own. Some were entrepreneurs, some were teachers, some worked in a bank, whatever it was, they all owned their choices. And I didn't realize then, as a young child in school, how rare that was. But all that is due to my grandmother, who made sure her girls were independent. So yeah, and what I have done actually is I documented on some of the bullets the questions I was asked in other discussions. Yesterday, I had my book launch in Singapore. Last week, there was the IIM Alum Association, and I was part of that with a couple of other authors as well. So I took the liberty of documenting some of the bullets. However, so as you see at the bottom of the screen, ask me anything. I'm hoping that this will be a lively book club and that you'll have a lot of questions for me. So feel free to ignore my bullets, and I'm hoping you'll have questions or comments. If you've read the book, if you've not read the book, it really doesn't matter.
Um, so, is that all you want to say, Aarti, about the book as such?
This is what I want to say about the book, yeah. And I will take questions, and if we have time, then I'll read a couple of pages.
Okay. Then can I ask a question?
Please do.
Now, yes, I understand that it's all because of your grandma that she made her daughters independent, educated, confident women with careers. How? I mean, how? Because if her husband was eternally away and she was managing the whole house and the brood and everything, who exactly? I mean, was she financially well off? Therefore, she could maybe afford, to send them to good schools or what? What's the how of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it is here that the resourcefulness also comes out. So, as I mentioned in the beginning, the start was in the village, right? Uh, it's most village schools were only up to grade 6, grade 7 at the time, because typically when a girl hit puberty, that was the end of your education,
Yes, I know.
right?
It
But
is.
I think it was her desire to see them educated, and the good thing was it was also reciprocated by the daughters, because I think when people see that someone wants to push you forward, if you have even a bit of chutzpah in you, you will go and grab that opportunity. So about 5 miles from the village was a school where mostly boys went. There were maybe one or two girls who went there. So, with the encouragement of my granny, my second aunt actually would walk 5 miles in the morning with just a banana in her and 5 miles back again. And so she was able to study to grade 9 or grade 10. And you mentioned something. Yes, my grandfather was in the village away from the village most of the time. But Pati was lucky. She had an ally. She had her sister in law who actually sympathized with her. Now, these two women, interestingly, were a study of contrasts. My granny had no money, lots of children, and a mostly absentee or an uncaring husband. Her sister-in-law, on the other hand, actually had a lot of money, a very nice husband, and no children. So she actually, so she very complimentary, right? So
Yes, I
she
know.
actually said, I'm going to support you financially. Now the fact is, I don't know if she said that or not,
Mm.
but this is a fictional narrative at the end of the day. And what we do know is when Pati moved to Bombay, her sister in law gave her a gold necklace for the sake of the girls because she had no girls of her own, right? So in my book, I've taken artistic license and said, oh, the fees are going to be paid for by this woman who is already her supporter. And later on, when they came to Bombay, uh, there, typically in most families, if there's not enough money, it will be the boys educated, unfortunately, at the expense of the girls. And that's exactly what happened to my aunt. My
Mhm.
aunt, who is the character Kamala in the book, her real life name is also Kamala. She's still alive. She's 92. She had to miss a year because the brother next to her in age was given precedence by my grandfather. She took a scholarship. This was in Matunga. She basically got free education for the last 3 years because with Pati's help, she studied, did the scholarship, won the scholarship, and the education was paid for. And the other thing that happened was at that. So sorry.
Oh my God, Anjali.
Oh,
Ooh,
is that okay?
Okay, carry on.
And then the last thing that happened was in Bombay in the 1940s, because of the freedom struggle, the Wardha-based association of Mahatma Gandhi, the Rashtrabhasha Prachar Samiti, was giving free Hindi lessons to people.
Mhm.
So Pati and my aunts basically, Pati pushed my aunts, they were teenagers then, to go to learn Hindi. I can't even imagine how difficult that must have been when you've grown up speaking nothing but Tamil and Malayalam because I mean, their village was on the border, on the Kerala Tamil Nadu border. So they learned Hindi. They were so good at it that they actually became Hindi teachers for the rest of their lives. So that's basically resourcefulness. And it's like, wherever you find that space, that opportunity, she just made
Mhm.
sure they went for it. She herself couldn't do it, right? But she made sure that they went for it. So I think it's a lot of resourcefulness, I would say,
Yes.
that she
And
showed.
also, given that hostility of the South to the Hindi language,
Yeah.
you know, she wasn't affected by that. It was
Yes.
another area of learning, and
Yeah.
she wanted her children to benefit when it was a very wonderful.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Indeed. I find that
Yes.
really amazing.
Okay, folks, she's open to questions. Come on. Who would like to ask? While they're thinking, now Pati's story starts a century ago. What has changed since then and what hasn't? Now, by the way, Aarti, my mother, growing up in Jhansi and places like that, went to school till she was 9 or
Mm,
12, and then she had to go to another city to her sisters in
to go to
Nagpur
school.
because there was no school for girls.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Indeed.
And but I mean, I'm amazed the way how confident she was. She finished school in another town, hardly saw her own parents ever. Finishing school, she went to Banaras Hindu University, so far away,
Yeah.
and on her own, she's told us stories about things that happened when they had to change trains in the middle of the night. And you know what men are like, and have always been like,
Yeah,
places like
yeah,
railway stations. Such confidence, admirable, right? So,
absolutely.
yes, what has changed? Of course, a lot has changed, but what hasn't? Tell me.
I'm going to pick up two things which I think haven't really changed, and maybe there's more, but let's talk about what hasn't changed. I think the good thing that hasn't changed is the absolute dedication to education. I'm happy that hasn't changed. What the other thing, unfortunately, that hasn't changed, although I do see baby steps happening here and there, is the fact that then as now,
Hmm,
women are still, in most parts of India, in most families, are still seen as the people in charge of the home and children.
yeah.
Oh, you got a job, you're financially independent, brilliant. Now you have three jobs. You know, it's
Ah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
You have the day job, as you call it, and then you come back and do what these days they call emotional labor, but labor is labor anyway. Now, I like to think that's changing. I like to think we have taken more than baby steps, but that's just the people maybe on this call, but there's a whole world outside. There's a whole country
I
outside,
know.
right? So a lot of things haven't changed.
Correct.
The other
There are
thing,
some
say again,
multiple realities, aren't there?
exactly my point.
This
Yeah,
is also so, that is also so.
yeah,
Yeah. There's
exactly.
a book called The Second Shift by an
Oh,
American sociologist.
yes,
The first paper I ever read at a seminar was on that book. And you can make out the second shift. See, a woman has a career, but when she
yes,
comes home, she enters the second shift. She
exactly.
can't rest. And what
Yes,
the book showed was basically men do things when they want to and what they want to.
yes,
Women just do what has to be done. No choice about it.
absolutely. Absolutely. The other thing I will mention it because this is for me, this really sometimes irritates me as a woman also. Women are still expected to put up with it, right?
Mm,
Endurance is seen as a duty, as something great. People endure because they have no choice. Yeah,
yes.
this is not a positive attribute in many ways. I mean, I still remember fighting with my husband once and telling my mom, and when my mom, because of habit, it's habit, right? She tells me in Tamil, "Vittukudu." That means let it go. And I was like, no, don't you say that to me because I don't think his mom tells him that.
Yeah,
And that hasn't changed, unfortunately. So I make sure I never tell my girl that.
correct. I think it's changing.
Yes.
Okay, Bosky has a question. Yes. Please unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, I'm hello from Pagdandi Book Cafe in Pune.
Hi.
So my question is, yeah, you both talked about change,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but what do you think is happening now that in 50 years we'll look back and say that okay, that was you know that was let's say that women had to deal with today. That in 25 or 50 years people look back with the things that we consider normal now, but in 25 years they might be looking back and say that. That was not right. Is there anything that comes to mind?
I think the emotional labor part is absolutely going to be something I hope in 25, 50 years that we're going to look back on and say, how did they put up with it? I mean,
Mm,
I'll be very honest. I am very grateful to have help at home. I'm really grateful. But that's the physical part of it, right? The whole running a household thing, I know for a fact, falls 80% on my shoulders. It's not just cooking, it's thinking what the menu's got to be like for the 7 days of the week multiplied by 3 meals or whatever, how many meals you have in a day. I'm just giving a small example. And my generation will still put up with it. And I would consider myself to be reasonably outspoken. But I know that my daughter's generation might not put up with that. I hope they won't, right? You do not get the day job at work and then it's not even day job, right? Jobs are 24/7 these days.
mm.
And continue to do all of that. So this is one thing I really, really hope will change. So all the stuff that hasn't changed, the negative stuff, I'm hoping that future generations kind of wake up, and not just women. Yeah, I'm hoping the men also will say, hey, that's not right. Let me lend a hand. But they'll only do it if someone tells them, right?
So should it
Yeah.
be left to women to have that conversation, or should men also come forward and you know uh, initiate that conversation? Because I mean, I think sons and brothers and fathers should definitely come forward and say that she's a working woman, help
Yes,
her, and it's as much your house as hers, right?
absolutely. And as a mother, I have a boy and a girl. So I don't just tell my girl, do this, do that. That's not fair, right? I make sure both of them do whatever has to be done. And I'm asking my boy, where are you going at night? Just as much as I will one day ask my girl, where are you going at night? Right? I totally agree with you. But I guess what I would say is if someone needs to trigger that discussion and it has to be the woman to trigger it, it's okay.
Yeah.
If you hang around waiting for someone else to trigger it, it ain't never gonna happen.
I remember there was this, I think, ad for it was a washing machine where the father notices that his daughter is back from work and she's still doing all of the chores, and
Yeah.
and he's the one who comes forward and points out that she's had a
Yeah.
equally busy day, or she's just as tired. So I think all of that has to, probably, the mainstream has to start addressing it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, I know the ad you mean. It's
Yeah,
got equivalent
yeah,
with the mom and the son. The mom's picking up clothes and the son is doing whatever on his phone.
yeah.
And fun fact, it was my junior at B school who's basically thought of these ads. She is the head of PNG in that particular area, and she's very proud of those ads. So I'll tell her you said this.
Oh, wow. I think these ads by these sort of forward-looking companies help so much because they enter the consciousness,
Yes,
of the viewers.
yes,
Also, that Titan ad about this woman who's obviously getting married for the second time, and the little girl wants to go round and round, and with that, so acceptance, a woman can get married again.
yeah.
That Rajiv ji, who is washing clothes, and the neighbor pops, she's Rajiv ji, aap kapde dho rahe ho? And he says, हाँ, because wife has taken the kid to the doctor,
Huh.
so these gender specific roles,
Yeah.
that gender specificity has to decrease.
Yes. As I tell my son, I didn't come out of my mother's womb with a vacuum cleaner in my hand.
I know. A
So
lot
someone
depends
else
on
pays for
parenting. Like you said, your son and daughter are going to be asked to do things around the house equally,
Yeah,
right? I'm
indeed.
very proud to say that my husband tells me stories of his childhood when his father was in the army and away. And he became sort of the man of the house very, very early and used to help his mother in a lot of ways in which his sister didn't. You know, she had to go shopping, she had to cook. He would lay the table. He's very good at the parenting,
Of course.
was very good there.
Yeah.
Okay, Vasudha, yes?
I have a comment. I am surprised. I thought Kerala society is a matriarchal society, so women have greater agency there as compared to other regions. Is this not reflected in your grandma's experience or life journey?
So I think this is a bit nuanced, so I'm just going to unpack it a bit. Yes, in general, Kerala for sure is seen as more developed, more matriarchal, more advanced. But don't forget, it's maybe what, 50, 60 years ago, as you would have read in Mother Mary Comes to Me, that Arundhati Roy's mom had to fight for inheritance right in that very Kerala. Her story starts just 2 hours from my party's village. Then again, remember that a state as a whole might be progressive, but that often doesn't trickle down to the small, small villages we're talking about, right? There's pockets, some things don't change, right? What changes at a high level may not change at a lower level. And I don't know if you've ever lived in Kerala, but you know, literacy rates are high, all that is high, but a lot of things actually you will find there are pockets of non-progressive behavior, let's just put it that way. So I think, and you're also talking of India in the 1920s all the way through to 1980s. So I think it kind of moves, right? My story moves over 5 or 6 decades. So what it might be like today or even 20 years back is very different from what it might have been in 1920 to 1940. So the story, for those who haven't read it, is kind of divided into two parts chronologically from 1920 thereabouts to mid 40s, because it's during the war that party moves to Bombay. And like you mentioned just now, Dr. Coach, they're also asked to vacate a train in the middle of the night halfway between Bombay and Kerala. And it also, that's chronologically. And the second way the book is divided is her character arc from good wife to good mother, right? How she kind of has that internal and then external rebellion. So I don't know if I've answered your question fully, but basically that's how it was.
Okay, fine. No, I'm satisfied.
I think Kerala society is matrilineal, which meant that the mother's family controlled the wealth, but it was the mother's brother. The eldest brother was the one who controlled the wealth.
Correct.
So it was actually not, as we think, power did not reside with the woman, but with the brother and her family.
Thank you for that.
Correct. Yes, Kaveri. Because yeah, when you read Arundhati Roy or any other author talking about Kerala, this comes across as sort of a conundrum, Oh, but etc. Oh, but that kind of thing.
Yes,
Okay.
there's always
Anyone else? Anyone else? Because if we are done, we have one more presentation.
I
So
think
shall we?
Azra is trying to say something.
Oh, is she?
Yeah, I
Is she?
guess so. But she's on
I
mute.
can't see her actually.
She's on mute, I think. She's on mute.
Azra, okay.
You have to unmute, Azra.
Yes, you have to unmute. Azra?
Okay, I did.
That's it. Yes.
So, Aarti, thank you for that lovely presentation. I have a very practical question. Firstly, I applaud the men who are in your group, but I want to know their opinions because I think that's another generation. Because in my building, I see the young men with hampers of laundry going to do the laundry, and I say, "How wonderful of you!" They say, "What's so wonderful?" So what do the men in the group think of what you've talked? I'd love to know their opinion.
Are you talking about the book club or you're talking of the people in my
book club?
Sorry. Yes.
Oh, come on, guys. She wants to hear from you.
And something. What do they think of this discussion? What do they think of their role? Satish. Come on, man.
Sanjay, Phadke is there, Bosky is there. There are others.
Please, guys.
Hey.
No comments from the men?
Yeah, I am trying to get a word in, and my wife is cutting me out all the time.
No,
I don't know
I'm
whether
not.
this is what has happened. Can you hear me now, Mo?
Yes, we
can.
Finally. I forgot what I'm doing. I believe that education was necessary to make changes in the world. If I tell you about stories, everyone has stories. Yes, I have stories also, and plenty of it where my father's family had lost a lot of money and didn't have money, and they had to get scholarships to educate themselves, one meal a day and things like that, everything from that side, and they made it through. But they continued to give back to the family. So it was not that they became army or doctors becoming well-to-do. The money was to go down there also. On my mother's side, I have one lady who did wonders. Okay, give you a little quick story. My great-grandfather went off to Delhi because he could speak English, etc. Got a good job, but within 6 months, he had this thing and he died. And the old ladies with the hair cut off came all the way back to Ratnagiri and they tried to educate the children around. Now, the daughter was to be married off at the age of 9 or 10. And that's what was done. And she became a widow within a week, 6 months' time. And she had no life at all. My grandfather took her out of that and took her to Karve Institute. Now, this lady from Karve Institute climbed up the ladder, did things. No one seems to be. I didn't know what she did, but when I looked back into her life, she did a wondrous lot of things. And this lady didn't make come on. She was India's representative in the International Labour Organization. She must have been about 35 years old, been there, never traveled abroad, and she was there. But in the family, I remember that she was the one who, she had a word. She was to say it, and she said it loudly and got everything done what she wanted. But it was not popular among everyone because she was the masculine so-called masculinity there. On the other hand, my mother got that, and she was the leader against other her younger brothers, etc. She was the person who would come up and stand up and stay, fight the British, etc. She was doing that, and from the very beginning, this is someone is an army daughter is there. She will know that army doctors like Kaveri's father and my father had been built up with the medicine thing that they would go and do their operations even when they're high up the ladder. And my mom worked with the people the thing, and because after independence, a lot of problems for people, and Papa, I worked with them. They had a life they picked up to do it. So when I try to do what I try to do, which is the thing, I think these are the genes I got from there.
Yes, Satish, but what do you think about men of your generation helping out in the kitchen and the laundry? What are your feelings about that?
I'll tell you, yes, they are doing it, but not as much as we would like to. I see all the IT companies here and watch how they purchase things, etc. And you can see that the wife, the girl who's with her, said, "No, we must buy this, we must buy that. See, it'll be easy for you to use." I remember Mohini, myself, and Pari was talking away. Pari and Mohini get together. I don't get a chance to say a word, so I was watching this young couple. And she told that we'll do this. See, you like to do all that. That will be good for you to do. No, I could see that she was in charge. And I have noticed young people are doing wonderfully well. Can
Okay.
see it around. And I hope more and more people would come to that. I very much worry at times about what's happening around us because we need to have that equality of men and women very importantly. And as
Yeah.
I keep saying, it will be the woman who will make life a better life because she is the one who gives the basic grounding for the child. And I think about that, and I do some work on this. As Mohini Vikil could tell you that I do this work also of getting women to
Mhm.
they take a bigger interest in their lives than just
Yeah.
cooking
Right.
and dinner. And
So
books and books
basically,
and
you
books
know,
have been with what I've been using.
I think it's like feminism. There had to be John Stuart Mill first, and then Mary Wollstonecraft claim certain things for women. So the gender which is not powerful has to realize that they have not got a fair deal, and they realize that when they get educated, parenting is very, very important, etc. Yes, guys, anyone else? Shashank
Hey,
Patkar.
Theo.
Hmm. Yes, who would like to speak? Um,
Mukul,
I
Yeah.
okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, in the families that I have seen, my parents, my grandparents, the men did what were peripheral things that,
Hmm.
buy vegetables and come, not actually help in the kitchen. And
Hmm.
men gravitated towards the kitchen to actually do more of the helping once they retired. So till they weren't retired, till they were in service, they never even knew probably which side the kitchen was located.
I
So,
tell you.
but the others, after they were, then people like my father was so often in the kitchen that my mother had to tell him, please move away. I don't want you here. You're in the way.
Wonderful.
But they got more and more helpful. Of course they did all their newspaper reading and stuff like, and I've seen this in home after home, with people from my community, at least all my relatives. But they were aware of what's happening in the kitchen, and as I said, there was a lot of peripheral help, not
Con-
actual hands-on, but yeah, going and getting groceries or going and getting vegetables, sort of leaving it at the kitchen door, kind of, so
Yeah.
that sort of thing that they never did before, but not, I would say, washing clothes and stuff like that. That women of a certain, financial class also didn't do that. They kept it till the maid came the next day. I'm talking about pre-washing machine times. So this was it. There was still a division of labor, but there was, I was happy to note, much more sort of intrusion into what was initially just a women's sphere by the men. Yeah, I saw this among, people of my father's generation and his older brothers. So that's almost 80 years ago, 70 years ago. I did see that.
Uh, I
Okay.
wanted to make a point basically. So in our society, we have, the conversation around division of work doesn't usually happen between men and women because we have helpers. Okay. So all the work is pushed down to them and they're almost like a shock absorber in our society for
Yes.
all the, yeah. So I think that's why in Western world that conversation happened much sooner, and women could be more assertive that, since this is the work to be done, it needs to be divided. In our society, we sort of push it down to helpers, and that is why that conversation has been avoided for as long as it has been.
Yeah. Payal, but we're just talking of when the help is not available, then it is not automatic that the man comes over. It's that the woman steps in. And very often, I've also seen women say things like, if the man came into the kitchen and helped her, next day she'd tell all her friends, you know how helpful my husband was? He did
Ah,
this and he did that, which
I,
angers me no end, but that's
yeah, I
another
know.
matter
I know.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
very
They
special.
get a lot of credit
Yeah,
for
yeah, yeah, because it is so
whatever they
rare.
do. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Now,
But I
Prem
guess things have
Prasad.
changed. I'm sorry, I'm talking about some time back. So, I
Mhm.
wouldn't be very updated
Hello.
on this, but I am
Okay.
definitely talking.
Thanks, Mukul. Now, Prem Prasad doesn't says he can't get his voice heard.
Can you all hear
Can
me
you?
actually? This is
Yeah.
Prem here.
Oh, yeah, we can hear you.
Oh my
Would you
goodness. Okay,
also
I've been
like to
trying to
put
talk for
on
such a
your
long
video?
time.
Then we can see you as well.
Unfortunately, I'm not in a position to do that
Okay,
because
never
I
mind.
seem
Never mind.
to.
Let's hear
Uh,
you at least. Yeah, go on.
uh, all right, actually, yeah, I've been thinking so much about this that I actually forgot the main point that I wanted to make. By the way, I'm new to the club. I'm joining this meeting for the first time. Pune,
Well,
I'm
welcome.
thanks a lot, man. I'm a book fan. I read all kinds of books, mostly to popular science
Mm-hmm.
and science fiction. But I also love classics.
Hmm.
And
Okay,
of
let's
course,
have the comment, please, because we
yeah.
need to move to the other
So
person.
as regards this, yeah, I think there are very deeply entrenched views about women in the society, and that includes views of not just men but also women. Women just are can be as regressive as that. I'll just share a very recent experience. I was actually dealing with a child. You know, two little kids, one a boy and a girl, both of the same age. And the boy was harassing the girl. So both are little innocent kids, nothing more. And basically, it was a very innocent kind of harassment where the it was a kind of bullying during play. So when I asked the mother that just send the boy send when I asked her to send her son to her home to play with our child, her answer was he doesn't like to play with girls. That was from the boy's mom, and I think that's a very regressive way of even thinking for a mom because she's the one who's going to mentor the child. The child is going to grow up now shadow,
Hmm.
and he's going to
Okay,
inherit her.
one sec, Prem Prasad. I'm afraid for me, at least, your voice broke up so much. I really don't know what the point is. But, Aarti, did you hear it?
I heard. So
Huh.
I
Could you
think
answer?
I think the big
Respond.
thing I think the big thing for me when I was writing this book, and even now, it was never meant to be about men versus women. It was never meant to be about this whole thing. But, it was more about hoping that whoever reads this book will take a moment to remember whoever it was, male or female, who shaped their own family story, right? Just like my party shaped our family story. And what was really heartening for me personally was one of the reviewers who told me after she read the book, she went and hugged her mom. But
Yeah.
even more heartening were actually the guys, the people I went to B school with, would text me, some of them in tears, saying, "We loved your story because it reminded us of," and unfortunately, the unsung people in families are unfortunately their nannies or dadis or whoever, but also in some cases their grandpas. And they were actually, I was kidding that I've reduced more guys to tears than ladies, which is a heartening positive sign, I would say. They texted me saying, "We were crying on the flight reading your book," and it's not a sad story, but more in terms of
Touching.
remembrance. No, I don't want to give spoilers, but it's actually a, and I know I'm the author, but it actually is a positive ending. It's a heartwarming ending. It's not gloom and doom. It's not like some kind of never-ending labor camp story. It's not like that. But what I'm trying to say is, it was never meant to be a gender thing. It was more meant, hopefully, and everyone was grown up middle class in India, if not one generation before, maybe two generations before. Somewhere, someone has shaped your family's story, right? So my hope is that people will take a moment to remember that. In fact, it's funny, I dedicated this to my party who's long gone. My aunt is still alive. She's 92, which is why I was so grateful she could read it, right? And my mom, who's in her late 70s. But here's the thing, because of these people texting me after they read the first draft, the day before it went off to print, and Dr. Cote, you will see this on the dedication page, I added a line that it's for all the unsung women who have toiled to shape their family's story. It's for you, for whoever, who maybe even you don't know the story. It doesn't matter if you can't write a book. This book is for everyone, right? And I just wanted to say that it was never meant to be about what guys do or what guys don't do. It was more meant for everyone to just take that moment to thank whoever it is on whose shoulders we have climbed here today,
Correct.
right? So that
Yes.
was that was kind of the thing. And just something I wanted to point out, and I guess the observant among you might have realized, if you look at the cover of my book, it is actually a metaphor for a doorway, right? You have the toranam on top,
Typical.
I have
Yeah.
a rangoli below. So it's a door. And of course, you have the Rudraksham on the Kanjivaram, at the bottom. But actually, the book cover is a door. So I'm inviting you to step into the pages of
Ah,
the book, step into my party's life.
oh, how lovely. That's a beautiful thing to have done. Aarti, thank you so much.
Thank you
This
for
has
having me. Thank you for your
been
patience.
very rewarding. I think we've all enjoyed it. It is a book that should be read. And I'm going to continue to the last page.
Please do. And once you finish, do text me and let me know.
I will. Thank you so much. And
Thank you
thank you
very much.
everybody who is here, who commented, and so on. Aarti,
Thank
I hope
you.
you'll come to our book club meetings often.
I will. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you. Thank you.
Thanks to everyone. I really appreciate it. I'm going to mute myself now
Thank
while
you,
Sanjay takes.
Aarti. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now we move on to our second presentation and one more author. I'm really chuffed, that we have two authors to speak to today. Now, the second presentation is of a book entirely different. So, man, talk about variety, huh? Sanjay Phadke, I welcome you to present your book, which he says is his second book, and it is about AI. Now, everybody's talking about AI, and I think everyone wants to know more about it. So, Sanjay, the mic is yours. Please unmute and begin. Everybody else stay muted, please.
Thanks, Moini. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. So, thank you, Book Club. I've been a member for like 5 years, I think, but I've been sparingly present on the meetings. So that's thanks for giving me the opportunity. Despite that, I guess I do look at all the updates that you share, Moini, and the banter in the club. I love the atmosphere. It's just that I've just been too busy. You're right. This is my second book. My first book was called Fintech Future. That was published in 2020, just around COVID. And because it was COVID, it did not have any kind of publication of any sorts per se, but it was published by Sage. That was looking at how technology affects certain industries and the future and the digital DNA of the world. I had talked about AI in that book as well, quite a lot. But what I had thought will happen in, let's say, 10 years from then, so from 2020, 10 years would be 2030 or beyond, actually started happening from 2022 onwards. And I think we're kind of seeing something very, very interesting. We are at a very, very, very interesting time in, if I may sort of be a little ambitious, say that in the history of mankind, humankind,
I think so. Things
civilization.
are happening so fast.
It
I
is,
mean,
yeah.
it's one upon the other, really. Yes, go
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. So that's why I thought I'll write this book. I actually was working on a bigger book for AI and its interplay on intelligence and especially human intelligence and specifically consciousness. That would actually be something that I will do next, because when I was talking about what I was doing with my wife, she said that what you really need to do is, first of all, let's get to the basics. Let's get people to understand what is AI all about, right? And is it something to be scared of, something to be too enamored of, or how should they position themselves with AI? And she came up with this title idea called AI Decoded, and that is actually the title of the book, AI Decoded. And then I added, what I am focusing on in the book is, very, very interestingly, it continues the agency part that Aarti talked about. It just converts the agency part of the human agency in the world of AI. Let me also say a word about Aarti's book. I've read that. It's really, really wonderful book. Aarti happens to be somebody I know. Her husband and I were colleagues in our first job, and she and her husband were together in one of the best management institutes, not one of the best, the best management institutes in this country. And I also happened to be in London when Aarti was publishing her book, and it was great to actually be at the Royal Library. Is that the right place, Aarti? You're on mute.
Unmuting. It was the British Library, not the Royal
British.
Library.
Okay. It almost looked like Royal Library. I mean, everything in UK or whatever, London is royal, right? So it's okay. Yeah. But yeah, it was a grand setting, grand event, and I was lucky to be there. And the genesis of, I guess, this discussion also goes back to the time that I was lucky to be in London. So coming back to the book, I'm going to maybe just put up a presentation if that's okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay, so I think you've seen this on the book club. AI Decoded: How to Stay Human During the Biggest Change of All Times. Actually, the book is, I think, this says our time. In my view, it is all time, and you'll see a little bit of a pseudonym there that I am going to kind of use going forward. I started using it just for this book. So this was the first with that. The idea of the book is to, in a very, very layman's terms or laywoman's terms, talk about how AI is shaping our world, actually. World includes work, lives, how do we engage with it calmly, without hype or fear. And that's really the idea of the whole book. And the idea of this conversation, so the first book, I didn't have a chance to do any publication, neither any kind of release or any kind of book clubs or anything like that. And to be frank, at that time was not really that interested as well. I thought my job was done the moment I finished the book and sent it to the publisher, because the book I had written that book for myself to clarify my own thoughts and ideas about the future. This one is very different though. This one I do want to engage as much as possible with as many different types of people on what AI does to us and we do to AI as well. And hence, I think this opportunity to have a discussion, and I do hope that this is a discussion, is really, really, really welcome. The book is on Amazon. You can scan the QR code. So I'm putting the plug there. We'll share the link as well later on.
A video.
Yeah. Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay. So why do I believe AI is the biggest change of all time, right? So there are many people who have connected AI to the internet or to the electricity, right? So, and so on. To my mind, actually, it goes even before. It goes right to when humankind invented, either by design or accidentally, while just doing two stones, playing with two stones, fire happened. To my mind, that fire essentially created energy from matter. And AI goes a step further from that. It creates intelligence from energy, right? And the common thing in both of these is that the fire created energy from matter, but that energy was already inside of us. But fire created energy outside us, right? Similarly, the intelligence AI creates is already inside us, but this is a manifestation of that intelligence outside us, right? So I know this is a very very fiction oriented book club. In fact, the only discussion I think I have probably that would have been there on things like this was the one that I had done the last time. I remember I had done a reading of a book, I think in 2021, by a professor in Harvard who talked about immortality and stuff like that. I don't know if any of the people in the group today remember that, but
Yeah, I do. Lifespan, I remember.
lifespan.
But Sanjay, I do not accept that this is, well, maybe the most of our choices have been fiction. But we do nonfiction as well. We've done a lot of it.
Yeah. So
Continue. We've done
that
poems. We've done
was a
pages.
provocative statement. I just wanted to make sure that everybody is open for that, and thanks for sort of clarifying that and mentioning that. So AI creates intelligence outside us. Moving on, this book got released about a month and a half ago, and a bunch of people have read it, including people from financial sector, people from tech sector. So the person on the left is finance, but the lady is AI and tech. The guy at the bottom is actually a evolutionary biologist at ICER who looks at how biology converts into intelligence, and then AI as well. And the guy on the top is again a geek nerd, and the guy on the right bottom is myself. Very briefly, I can kind of without talking about the book or giving it away, I can just talk about how the AI world looks like for those who are like interested in it. So hold on till I get to the next stage, if in case you're not interested. We'll move on to more interesting things which are closer to fiction. So to my mind, AI transformation is a sum of all transformations that we've seen. So that includes electricity that Sundar Pichai famously talked about, as well as digital. Digital includes internet, cloud, mobile. So last 20, 25 years. And this will literally eat everything, whether we like it or not. AI started with, while it looks new, it actually has been in the works for 75 years. Most people will kind of think that that is not true, but it started with a guy called Alan Turing, who's who had, I mean, India was in his genes somewhere, in some way, but he was a British mathematician who talked about something called Can Machines Think? And that is what eventually released to the world in 2022 by the release of the Chat GPT. So very briefly, what we see today in the world of AI, there are three layers. So there is a layer one, which is the base layer, which is about stuff like hardware. I guess you probably are aware of the most valuable company in the world today. Anybody has guesses on that? Aarti, not you.
It's NVIDIA.
NVIDIA. Yes. Correct. $5 trillion, right? And that was even less than $1 trillion when ChatGPT was launched. So just imagine people in NVIDIA who made the most billionaires anybody knows at the fastest pace in shortest period of time over last few years. So NVIDIA, TSMC, and so on. So that's where the current biggest talk about AI is. The next biggest talk is in the middle layer or the model layer. So there's hardware, then there is models. Models are things like ChatGPT, Gemini. You probably use DeepSeek. You heard of DeepSeek that came last year, and so on and so forth. Those are all what is called as language models. But beyond that, models include other things like physical AI, like spatial models, and so on and so forth. And as Mohini mentioned, activity has been furiously increasing in all these spheres over last 2 to 3 years. Initially, it was progression happening in a quarter, then progression happening in a month, then in a week, and now every day there is something happening. So the pace is like this, like literally exponential to the power of n. Every day new things happen. Every hour new things happen. What really matters to you and me really is neither of the hardware layer or the model layer, is what is called as the application layer. Application layer is what we use already in our daily life, whether we know it or not, in a number of things that you use. So if you're a digital person, if you use any digital product, you can't say that you don't know what is AI because you're already using AI, whether you know it or not, right? It may be a explicit product like a Perplexity, which you may think is AI model, but it's not. It's an application. Or it will be something like a Google Map, or it'll be something like Zoom that we are using right now, a companion on Zoom, and so on and so forth. So this is the layer that will be the biggest layer of AI that is relevant for the world, because that is what you and I will use or already use. Now, the big question is, who owns this layer? Is it owned by AI or is it owned by us? And that's a provocative question.
Papa,
Sorry? Was that a question?
Papa, something or the other.
He was not muted. I have now muted him.
Okay, no problem. You can ask questions in between if Mohini allows, that is. I'm happy to take questions anytime. So question is, who owns AI, right? Are you owning AI or is AI owning you? That is the human agency that we need to grapple with in the times to come. And it is literally at least $10 trillion question. So when we talk about NVIDIA being $5 trillion, app layer currently is less than $2 trillion, all apps put together, but it'll probably be $50 trillion in a couple of decades. There are lots of investment opportunities, by the way, on all this, but I'm going to keep that aside of this discussion. But there is obviously at least a $10 trillion prize that is there for the decade that is coming. And that is because while the world has become very, very digital, that digital world has reduced friction, but it's reduced friction within the app or within the ecosystem of the app, not across the digital world. So I am a person I use 10 apps or 10 ecosystems. Within those ecosystems, things work beautifully. Across those ecosystems, they don't. Right? So this is something like using one of the best songs that I like, Hotel California. It's one of those lines in that you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. That is what the digital system is. And, I mean, how much ever we would talk about digital detox and so on and so forth, it's not going to happen unless we want to go back in time, right? We want to go back slowly from switching off phones to switching off electricity to switching off whatever and go into caves. Not going to happen. So that is the situation in which AI can actually be the savior, because it can be your agent, which works across all these, if I may call them, digital prisons, and they are indeed close to digital prisons. Whether that prison is in California or that prison is in Beijing, it's just still the same, right? But AI can show your path. It can keep you digital yet keep you sane, because it can ease the friction between these different platforms, uh, which try to lock us in all the time, but only and only if you're the one in control. So it sort of goes back to, who has the agency, who owns the AI? Do we own the AI, or does the AI own us? Why is this again important? Is because whether we like it or not, as I just mentioned before, AI is here. The AI is here, and question is not whether we like it or not like it, and we may dislike it and we may want to not use it and so on and so forth. We'll just fall behind like dinosaurs, most likely. I feel. I may be wrong. The more important question is whether we'll engage with AI with fear, with adulation, or just common sense, right? And common sense is not that common. So its current reactions to AI are either fear or adulation. Fear on part of people who don't use it consciously, who do not try to play with it, understand it, try to use it as a tool or a toy. Adulation on part of the geeks. Obviously, they would want to make the world believe that this is what is AGI or whatever you call it. This is going to like create something superhuman, will kill the humanity or whatever else. None
The
of that is.
fear, the fear that it'll take over, right?
Sorry?
I mean, when robots were begin,
Yeah.
there
Will
was that
robots take
fear.
over?
Exactly.
Perfect example
Similar.
of fear. Perfect example of fear. Not going to happen. And we can chat about it till whatever time anybody wants to, but it's not going to happen. Um, that's why the common sense is not too common. And this is something that is not understood by common people like us, but even experts are flummoxed, right? So people in large corporates, they don't understand how to make use of this genie. Small businesses, professors, professors are obviously far more, at the cutting edge, but depending on how much, I would say, intellectual baggage they have of the past, uh, teachers, they don't know what's happening. Students are using AI, they don't know what to do about that.
Disturbing.
Pretty much every field.
Sanjay, Prem Prasad has his hand up. Would you
Okay,
entertain a
go ahead.
question?
Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Prem
Uh,
Prasad.
Hi, Sanjay. I just have a comment and a question.
Okay.
AI doesn't take over. Yeah, I think the extreme kind of a takeover, as a lot of people imagine, like AI consciousness and things like that, may not be imminent. But I think you can already see humanoid robots, delivery by robotic drones, military systems activated by AI. This is takeover. this is not. It isn't anything but a takeover. I think there has to be we have to, and we don't really have any anything to guard against that. So in a way, it is a takeover, and that's something that has to worry the humanity.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, let me ask you a question.
Yes, please. Yeah,
Do you use a car to go from place A to place B?
of course.
That took away the delivery boy's equivalent of that age, which was horse cart drivers, right?
Yeah.
Now, are we using a pigeon to talk between us right now? You may be some other country, some other city, and we are on a communication link which can not only take a message, but I can show you something which is on my screen and you can see it on your screen. Is that something that we are using? We are obviously not using a pigeon. And I'm just again being provocative here. To my mind, all these talks are just intended by large tech companies to make people scared, worried, and not in control. And whoever wants to fall for that can fall for that. I'm not falling for it.
I'm not falling for it either. But let me just state something. We do have, humanity does have an alignment problem because of AI. That problem is quite existential, and I think it's a clear under present danger. We can't really deny that takeover, not in a very in a mythical sense, but there is a takeover, and we have to be worried about it. It doesn't mean that AI is some kind of an evil. It's just an algorithm. It's just it's something that we can control, but the kind of influence that it has on almost all aspects of our lives, I think the question does beg a lot more thought than just dismissing it as something that's not going to take over.
I'm not dismissing, sir. I'm just saying that the
you're
agency
not.
Agency is in the hand of the person. If you're aware, if you're conscious, if you're using it the right way, it is just a tool like any other tool. Very interestingly, this debate has been going on forever as to technology or any kind of tools, like whether it's fire, whether it's wheel, whether it's whatever. It changes things. Every change brings its own opportunities and fears. AI is just the same. It's a bigger fear and it's a bigger opportunity, but nonetheless, it just depends upon how we look at it. And very interestingly, I think I came across when I was researching my first book, actually, I came across a quote by funnily Swatantraveer Savarkar, which was in 1925. This was the time when people were talking about industrialization leading to loss of jobs and so on and so forth, and take over again from machines. And he had a very nice thing on that. And we can leave our political affiliations, etc., aside. But it basically talked about exactly the same thing, that it's a tool, and humanity will figure out how to use the tool, how to become better, how to evolve if we want to. So for more on this, I'm going to request Premji to read the book. It has a lot more. It's a slim book, actually. It's a very small, slim book, but kind of expands the ideas that I'm talking about.
Sure. I'm just about to buy that, actually. I'm on Kindle.
Great. So
thanks anyway.
I made my first sale. I mean, not the first sale, but on this book club, the first sale. I'm really happy if others were to also take that and take
I
pictures.
haven't bought. I'm just about to pay. I'm just about to make the payment now. But in any case, I think I have a lot to talk because I do read these books a lot. In fact, right here on my table is Ted Mark's Life 3.0 and and the other several. I've got a huge bunch of books on AI, including Why Machines Learn, the most recent book by
Prem Prasad.
Yeah.
I
But
wish
I
you'd
think
come back,
I'll stop. Yes,
please.
please continue. Please
Because
continue.
we had two books in one session. We need to be a little succinct All right.
I know. I know. I appreciate that. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Yeah.
Okay, so we are almost at the end of this, anyways. In terms of my presentation, there is just one more thing, and Mohini, I had sent you a survey. I don't know if you can release that survey on the book club WhatsApp.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able to?
I dare say. I mean, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen the survey.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, I don't have
what
access to
exactly
it.
do you want to read?
No, he says he sent a survey and he wants me to put it up on the
Okay.
group on WhatsApp.
I haven't
Yes, I
seen it. I will
can.
look
I'm
at
sure I
it and
can.
I'll come back to you on that.
But I haven't seen it. That's all.
Right. Satish, I think, do you know how to do surveys on WhatsApp?
I did chemical engineering,
Yeah, I
1971.
can see that 1971 IIT Bombay. Yeah. But like today, can you see a tool in WhatsApp? Just go into tools and you see a survey button there.
I want to talk to you to make it a simple thing for people to make it. See, you spoke very well, clearly, and
Are you?
I would let me look into it, and I'll come back about what we can do further.
No problem. It would have just made it easier for us to discuss the next slide, which is actually the elephant in the room.
Do that.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah.
Do
So,
that.
okay, there you go, right?
Yeah.
So let's have a discussion on this. I know this is going to be the potentially the most un-AI audience that I will ever come across, most likely.
Cheers.
Sorry?
Cheers to that, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, here is a question.
I mean, I feel I'm learning.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Don't
so
write
here's the
us
question,
off,
right?
Sanjay. Don't write us off.
Yeah.
No, I am not. Nowhere. I think
Another
it's
one
all.
from I am. Can.
Yeah, it's all in your hand. It's all in your hand. So this is a question. So this has three. Imagine this is a survey which came on your WhatsApp group. Now I'm going to ask you to imagine. It had, how does AI and creativity work together, or what is the relationship between them? And imagine there were three options. Option one is mutually exclusive; they have nothing to do with each other. Option two is collaborative. It can work together with each other. It can enhance creativity for humans, etc., etc. Option three is if we use AI, it will make us dumb, and it will destroy with the R in addition to.
Who's collaborative would be
No,
better, right? Creativity can make use of AI.
Can I have a show of hands on your? I don't know if there's no voting button on this. I guess
there's no voting
maybe
button.
In the chat, if people can put their views, 1, 2, or 3. Just put number 1, 2, or 3 in the chat.
Repeat 1, 2, 3. What will they be?
1 is mutually exclusive. AI and creativity have nothing to do with each other. So artists, musicians have nothing to do with AI. AI is a different world. Creativity and creative pursuits are different worlds. There's no connection between them. Number 1 option. Number 2 option, that you as an artist can collaborate with AI. Number 3 option is we should stay away from AI if we care about art, music, literature, etc., because it will destroy creativity. These are the 3 options.
Can I? I'll say something immediately. I've been giving it a little thought, not very much, a little thought.
Just before we come to comments, if I can request for numbers, please. I just want to see the broad sense, and please what you believe is the right number rather than what is politically correct number on this group or whatever. Just feel free to write 1, 2, or 3.
It is collaborative completely.
I think everybody is saying to
I'm surprised because I have a daughter who is a musician who says that it has nothing to do with each other.
You have a daughter.
I think it depends on how you define creativity. Creativity doesn't only have to be artistic talent. Creativity can be an innovative approach to looking innovative perspective in the way in which you handle situations. So in that sense, AI is something which actually enhances one's ability to think about something different, to think about something interesting, because it is a productivity tool. That's the way I'm using it so far, as a productivity tool. And it just helps me to express my thoughts more efficiently and more effectively. As far as time is concerned, as far as the time utilization, so far I'm using it to help me in terms of time utilization. I think my generation is fortunate because we have grown up without it. So we already have a lot of intellectual capital. So what we are doing is we are using AI to help us to express our own intellectual capital in a much more effective manner. That's my experience so far.
I am using AI, very little of it, to be able to write. I've written one book and I've got a huge book going on. I'm thinking of taking it on a book as such to be able to write. In fact, I'm using it for sending letters, etc. But well, let me put it like this: I'm very active. I used to be very active in the citizens'
Civic
involvement
matters.
in the own country. So I used to be working hard on that, and which has died down. And I said to myself, let's use it to make it very important. Make citizens will have a better understanding of themselves.
Sure. I would love to hear from somebody in the art, literature
Mohini.
world. I know Aarti is raring to go, and I know her answer already, actually. So, anybody else before Aarti?
I'm a calligrapher. I can give you my 2 bits around AI. So, you have to have certain grids on which you write. So, I've been using Chat GPT to generate those grids, and it has been a great help. And then there was this case where I stay where an artist passed off AI art as his own, and it got detected because there's replication and the hands are a certain way. It's very easy to make out, and some of the work of another artist showed up in his collage of art that he had created. So that is the other thing, that it's easy to spot till now that some work is AI generated. So you can use it as a tool. It's like an additional brain power as where you want to sort of share the elements of your composition and ask them out. You can place this around this thing. So I think it's collaborative. I don't think it's ever going to replace the human hand, because there's certain imperfection that makes it charming. Art that is made with hand is imperfect. It is relatable for that reason. And if you make it with AI, I remember I also letter, so I had made a poster, and I'd run it through ChatGPT because the spacing I felt was a little odd. Okay, so I came back with a composition that looked good to me. I thought the AI had done a better job with spacing. Then I put it out on my social media, and the people said that the original work was better than the one that was generated by AI. So as long as you're not stealing, as long as you're not taking claim, you're not claiming the art to be yours when it's AI generated, I think it's a tool. It's how you use it. It's like the only restriction is your imagination and your ability to give instructions to the AI. So those are the two limiting factors. Other than that, I think it's a great collaborative tool. Yeah.
Okay, let me just come in once again. I was in New York and I was trying to write a letter to the president of the country, India. And my granddaughter, she must have been 16 most at that time. Aju, what have you written? I explained to her why I'm writing this, etc. She said, okay, give it to me. And cut. And the letter she had drafted on that, I hardly had to make a change in the names of addresses and names. I had it. But it did, and it has been answered also. They may not have done further work, but it went to the president of India on what Anika had written, 16-year-old had drafted 95% of it for me. So
Yep.
I'm a bit thrilled.
I think there is one hand from Aarti. I'm aware of the time now. We are almost at 1 hour 46 minutes from the beginning. So just keeping, just respecting everyone's time. So
I'll keep it brief. You know, it's a contrarian comment. So for me, I think AI can improve efficiency in many areas, and that's great because it has the potential to be collaborative in so many fields. Personally, as an author, I would hate it. I don't use it at all, and I would hate it in my field. I don't have the power to stop it, but yeah, that's my 2 cents.
I knew that
Aarti,
was coming.
I'm an
Anybody
author
else?
also, and I'm trying to use it. I'm trying to use it. I need to think it out carefully now. Yeah.
I also see some friends and cousins joining. So hi to everybody. But anybody has any other comments which are
I
striking
met
like Aarti?
I met a lawyer recently, and he said that he's prone to writing very harsh emails. So he runs them through chat GPT to tone it down, and then he sends it across. So yeah.
That's very smart. He knows himself at least.
Yeah. Self-awareness.
But
Yeah,
that, that
awareness
is
and consciousness. So
what our granddaughter did. She got the tone right.
yeah.
Yeah, she got the tone right. Yeah, completely perfect.
Which it may have taken Satish a little while, to be very gently suggestive and all that. She got the tone right, just like that.
There are a couple of people, Prem Prasad and Shashank. Prem Prasad,
Satish, now let's not look at new people and all. Let Sanjay please carry on and conclude, please.
Yeah, so I am actually done with this. I was hoping to get a quantitative split across this, but it does look like most people believe that we can hopefully collaborate with AI and be more efficient in general. Obviously, I agree with Payal completely. There is a certain amount of imperfection in humans, which is really, really unique. And we are going to actually see human experiences becoming more and more lively, important, valuable, etc., etc. Just like we talk about organic being better than whatever pesticide infected food or whatever it is. We're going to sort of handmade handicraft. So in the same way, human intelligence will probably be more valued, but it will always be better if we want it to be. So there
I
is
think that
humans.
I think creativity, would be more valued because anyone can possibly use, artificial intelligence to get the usual level of stuff. If you're an artist or a thinker, that will be very special. It'll be irreplaceable, right? That person, an artist, is not replaceable by a machine.
I'm going to interfere in this in 1 minute, guys. If I can show this, where am I?
What do you want to show?
I want to show the book that I'm reading.
Okay.
Rachel Carson, yeah. Which one, I think.
Given to me by my professor N.R. Kamath, and chemical engineering was taught chemical by this gentleman, and that made I think all the IIT guys who took this book. I lost that book, of course, as usual, and I think many of us who have the thing it converted us completely, and I'm going to use this more frequently now.
Okay.
So I'm pretty much done. I think this last slide is about me speaking at a recent TEDx event where I've talked about this theme a little bit more in detail and tried to connect to other ways in which we as humans can continue to exercise our agency and yet leverage AI in this wonderful new age that we are that we already are in. Any final questions, comments? I see Bosky has a question. If that's okay.
Yes, Bosky, please ask your question.
Yeah, I want to ask the audience if they remember what happened when the pocket calculator first came out in the 90s or 2000s.
Yes.
Because that's the last time when teachers used to do strikes and, all that. So we lived through that. So I think, this is just yet another tool.
Bosky, we have seen the days when there was a desktop calculator which had to be connected to a power source. In fact, we used to use in what is called it looked like a mini typewriter for doing calculations. Satish, do you remember?
Yes, very much. I used to make a joke out of it. We had to take off our shoes and socks to get into the computer thing. I said that we had to go and touch, say a prayer, and then only you could get to open touch the computer.
Monali, do you have a question? Is that
Yes,
Monali
ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So my question is, so this is what I feel. Of course, AI can be collaborative, but it also robs us of our basic sense of imagination. Even for this book club, I have made several presentations wherein I have received compliments from the other members saying that when you narrated the story, it seemed like a film. The reason was I used a number of AI generated images, which of course I acknowledged, but then I use those images just to show or give a feel of the kind of characters or the kind of ambience I was talking about. But now when I narrate a similar story or something, a situation to my students, they say we can't get it right, so just generate images for us so that we are able to imagine it. So have I grabbed their power of imagination altogether? This is a question. I was also very fanciful about art. I'm very fond of classical music, but I don't sing that well. So I recorded my voice and I put it up on ChatGPT with the required prompt. And now I have got an hour long recital of classical music with my voice all together with Tori. Okay, so which is a very difficult rag. Now, in case if I can do such a thing, and I'm a total layperson, if I can do such a thing, you can imagine what others may have done with this. So, Mr. Sanjay, I really liked your presentation, but my question is, when AI uses the information that we feed in it, and we give a prompt, it gives us a result, but the information that AI already has because of all the prompts that we are giving can also be automatically used by AI to do something different that we may have not even intended. Are we actually progressing towards what Frankenstein had, the way Frankenstein had developed, or that's my question actually.
Sure. So I think words like rob, hate, Frankenstein are indicative to my mind of fear. If I were to put these words in ChatGPT, as so many of you talked about, for something or the other, to categorize this in hope versus fear, it'll go towards fear. I think the question that you're raising is an important question in terms of what information AI has about you. But think about it this way: there is, when you when we talk about AI as the way you just posed in this particular question, it looks like there is you as a person and there is AI, which is another person in some way, right? And this person called AI is effectively generating information on this person, which is you, over a period of time. It is personalizing AI in a very, very basic sort of a foundational way, which is untrue. AI is not a person. There is nothing called AI does this or AI does that. It is just you giving your data, your approvals in whichever tool you use. I talked a little bit about the ecosystems, the Hotel California, etc., etc. I don't know if you were there at that point of time. So if you're using, let's say, Google, for example, even without AI, Google knows everything about you, right? Meta knows everything about you far more than you or your, depending on how much you use that. AI is not changing any of that. AI can potentially give you a choice which did not exist before because you were not aware of the settings, for example, in your Google, in your Facebook, or you had to use that particular ecosystem because you had to be friends with other people who are on that particular ecosystem, like WhatsApp, right? Meta, Instagram, all these are fantastic digital prisons. and we don't have the agency right now to be present in the digital age, but yet be there in any of these sort of wonderlands, stroke prisons, without us being at their behest. AI can potentially give that, but that's only because you have a choice, and that choice is about the human agency, and that is what I've written about in the book.
I have a little worry. I always wanted to be a writer. That's the first date IIT had told Sailesh Gandhi that, and he wanted to be a politician. So we were that young and we have put into engineering. But I've been writing a book and what have you. What will happen to the novels that we want to write? Will it be different? Will it cause differency? Should I give a novel, talk something about it, get it up, and then clean it and rewrite it again? I'm trying to think about that as such, because I did it with once. I just did it with a letter, and it went on and give me a beautiful thing. And I said, and this letter was to her, no names, etc. And I said that I'm going to shake that person up. I said, hold it. I can't do that. Politically, this will not be correct, etc. I had to make those changes around. But tomorrow I may not. I can just take this up and hit the fellow with it and say, now, Buster, you have screwed yourself. I can do that. I won't. I've said I will not do it. Huh? Everyone, please don't. आजकल करना पड़ता है यार ऐसे बात करने that is another worry. Will what I tell someone on the net, how will that go across to someone else? And today's time, everyone, if because you said something somewhere or the other down the line, well, you're behind bars or you're hanging upside down, whatever. There's lots to be talked about it.
Sure.
I think I need to get together with you. My brain needs that little shaking up.
Sure. We will. I think there is some last few comments, if at all. I think we
There
can take
are.
that and then bring this to close.
So
Shashank, I think.
So,
Anyone else quickly?
yes, I think the ethics around AI use have been evolving, and earlier AI would reproduce all that was there on the internet without paying any heed to whose copyright was there and all of that. So, I mean, now, earlier you could, sort of retrieve all copyrighted material as well, and then, rehash it and republish it. But now I think if you put a request to chat gpt, it'll tell you that this is protected under copyrights and I can only replicate this much from a song or this much from a book or this much, and if you ask them to make art in the style of a painter who's already who has copyright protection, they'll refuse to do that. So I think that system is also evolving on the side, which is going to protect the creatives
So
who
this
have
whole
shared their work.
this whole branch is now actually called AI alignment, and that is one of the biggest branches of research that's going on in many parts of UK, US, etc. And we need to do that for us, for our languages, for our copyrighted content, for our ancient knowledge, and so on and so forth. But that's been a fight that's been going on forever, so it's nothing new actually.
Yes,
but yeah,
actually,
let's get some final points from somebody who's not had the chance to speak before, if that's okay. Payal. I don't want to be cut off if somebody has a quick last comments before Moini cuts me off. Yeah.
Moini, you're the last one. Come on.
There.
Mo?
Yes, here I am.
Yeah.
No, I mean, are we done? I mean, any final question, comment, whatever? Okay, let me say, Shashank. Yes, quickly, please. Quickly,
Yeah, I just
Shashank.
wanted to say to Sanjay and to everybody else that the idea of agency is very nice, right? But access to real agency is going to get compromised by the tools, like he said. All of these prisons and AI, I worry, is likely to take us more in that direction than allow us to harness its full potential as individuals, because we probably end up becoming
It's
the
not
relationship with
AI
data.
doing it, it's you doing it to
I
yourself.
know. I'm saying,
Let's be clear about the language that we use.
Yeah.
The moment you say AI is doing to us, you are personalizing AI and then it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's the whole
I'm saying that
agency.
the agency that comes with the access to the tool itself is tricky. I mean, I just say that there's a conversation about this very large firm. I think I told you, Sanjay, once, who talked about how their supply chain is going to work very well because they have access and their counterparties are actually small farmers, right? So what's going to happen is the idea that the farmer has access to the tool itself is complicated. So I mean, yeah, like any tool, it's not the
So
screwdriver or the wrench which is the
it's an
problem.
absolutely fair point. It's going to increase the inequalities like anything on a scale that we have never ever seen before. But that's only because people like us are not going to be engaging with it, are not going to be utilizing it the right way, and hence it is going to increase the inequality. It's not like a foregone conclusion that that will happen, but if we are not careful, if we look at it with fear, if we look at it with undue adulation, it's going to lead to that. I agree. Yeah. But it's still a decision that we can take.
Okay. Good thinking.
Okay.
Good thinking. I like what your presentation is. I'd like to continue this later. I will call you on the phone sometime later. And all the very best to you. Moini, take over.
Yes. Very stimulating, exciting, and I think it voiced our fears about AI. I think we're all a little anxious about what exactly it is. And now, for example, my fear is, oh damn, it's out there. People are going to use it, and I don't know how to use it. That's my fear, frankly. Other people are so
Yes.
smart, younger people and all. I feel that now, we just had it. We are has been, and we can't catch up so fast. Yeah, things are changing too fast.
It's not
Until
that
now, like,
hard, Moini. You just have to try it once. It's not that hard at all.
oh,
And the very
Ted,
fact
is
that
it
you're not
true?
trying it is going to put you like back and more distance because it's progressing fast. So if you
Yes, it
try
is.
it now, you'll be like in line. You'll find that it's nothing great, actually. So try
Okay,
it out.
I will.
That's
Thank you
that's
for that
my that's my
encouragement.
request to everybody actually, not just you. Just try it out.
Okay, okay. Anyway, excellent airing of views, I thought, about AI. Because AI is the buzzword, it's everywhere. And at times I feel, I mean, what I think is AI, am I even right? Or am I not even catching it properly, what it is? Sanjay, thank you so much for clarifying a lot of issues, for raising issues, for making us think, for making us wonder, and encouraging me at least to use it. Try to use it, okay? So thank you very
All
much.
the very best. Take care.
Thanks.
Okay,
Thanks a
so
lot for the
Aarti and Sanjay, thank you so much for coming, for presenting, and for increasing our self consciousness about so many issues that you raised. Other people who came, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for engaging. Thank you so much for participating, asking, caring, being curious. And the most important thing is be curious, ask questions, don't accept and end the matter, right? That's what the book club is all about. It's about curiosity, it's about thinking, talking, learning. Hmm? So thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
Bye-bye.
now we meet in February.
Thank you.
Okay? Bye bye.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And if I'm not mistaken, 15th February, one day after Valentine's Day, is the day when we're going to talk about our favorite poems. Okay? Naina, I thought of you at that time. I'm thinking of Kusum Gokar. I hope she's well. What's your favorite poem? Let's hear it. Why? Why is it your favorite? What's so wonderful about it? Hmm? Very sweet session.
Looking
I
forward.
think it
Looking
will
forward.
be. So, bye, folks. Let me know if you're going to participate and what your poem is, because we don't want
Yes.
to duplicate, right? Bye. Thank you, everyone. Stop recording. Yes,